Hello everyone, my name is Surya and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to dive into ConfigMap and secrets in Kubernetes, what they are, why they matter, and how they solve real-world problems. Let's say your application running as a pod requires external database strings or API endpoints for external services. The traditional approach would be to hardcode them inside your source code repository or inside your Docker image. This is not considered a best practice and is not highly recommendable because it leads to several issues. The first issue is security, as sensitive data could be exposed in the code or Docker image layers if you hardcode directly in your source code. And the second issue is you are not decoupling configurations from code, meaning any configuration changes would require rebuilding the Docker image repeatedly. The third issue is maintenance overhead, as you would need to manage different configurations across multiple environments, which can quickly become a nightmare. And Kubernetes addresses all these challenges by providing ConfigMap and secrets. ConfigMap stores non-sensitive configuration data, while secrets are used to store sensitive information securely. Let's understand each of these use cases in detail. For the ConfigMap use case, imagine you have a Docker image that you want to deploy in dev, stage, and production environment, but with different configuration values for each environment. You can achieve this using ConfigMap, where you can keep the image same and updating the configuration during deployment. This approach avoids rebuilding the image for every environment, saving both time and effort. And for the secret use case, for sensitive data such as database credentials, you should never hardcode them in your source code. In many organizations, secret rotation is enforced automatically, meaning credentials changes periodically. If these credentials are embedded in your application code, you would need to constantly rebuild and redeploy. With Kubernetes secrets, you can simply update the secrets in the cluster and your application can retrieve the updated values without any code changes. This ensures compliance with security standards and it also helps to maintain a secure environment. For the ConfigMap demo, first I am creating three namespaces: dev, stage, and prod. As you can see, the namespaces have been created successfully. Next, I am creating a config map using kubectl create config map. The config map named as app-config and I am using from literal flag to map a key value pair. The key here is welcome underscore message and the value is dev environment. This config map is deployed in the dev namespace. As you can see, now the config map is created. I repeat the same process for the stage environment, keeping the key as same but changing the value to stage environment and deploy it in the stage namespace. I do the same for the prod environment as well, changing the value to prod environment and deploy it in the prod namespace. Now let's look at the deployment manifest file. This manifest file is kind of deployment with replica 1 and the image nginx. In the container spec, I am injecting my config value as an environment variable. This is done using value from ConfigMap key reference where the name is app-config and the key is welcome message. The container then takes these environment variables and writes into the index.html file so that it's served by nginx. I apply the same manifest file to all three namespaces in dev, stage, and prod. To verify, I'm running this kubectl ex command and reading the index.html file. The output shows dev environment, confirming that the pod is using the config map from the dev namespace. I do the same check for the prod namespace. As you can see, the output shows prod environment, confirming that the environment specific config is being applied correctly. Now let's look at the secret demo. First, I am creating a Kubernetes secret named db credentials using this command. This creates a secret in the prod namespace with two keys, dbuser and dbpassword. Next, I have a deployment manifest file where the kind is deployment with one replica and using nginx image for demonstration purpose. Inside the container spec, I define two environment variables, database user and database password. Their values are pulled from the db credentials and secrets using secret key reference, mapping to db user and db password keys respectively. I apply this manifest file to the prod namespace. As you can see, the deployment is created successfully. Now I simulate password rotation by creating the same secret with a new password and apply it with kubectl apply command. This updates the secret in the cluster without touching the application code. Because the pod consumes the secret as an environment variables, I restart the deployment to pick up the new value. Finally, I verify by checking the pod environment variables. The output shows the new password, confirming that the secret update is applied without code changes. I hope this video gave you a clear understanding of ConfigMap and secrets. If you found it helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching and I will see you in next video.